Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Christy's here, Alonso's here, Matt is on sabbatical, and we hope he's back soon. But there is so much going on. We're just going to dig right into it.
You are catching us in the throes of breaking news.
Ooh.
Because today, and maybe happening after we record, so we might be a tad bit behind on this, is Britney Spears' conservatorship hearing.
Yes, and she's attending in person.
Oh, is she going? Oh, I didn't realize that.
I thought you told me that, so maybe not.
No,
okay, sorry.
She's wearing a t-shirt. So she posted a picture of herself in a hashtag free Britney t-shirt.
Nice.
But I don't know whether she's going to actually physically be there.
Okay, scratch that.
Like
then.
They'd have to like close down all of downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah, true.
She'd have to arrive by a helicopter.
Like she couldn't. Come on.
I mean, she has a lot of core strength. She's very acrobatic. They could like lower her down.
Like a Pink concert.
Yeah. So that's happening today. It could be, the beginning of the end of her conservatorship. So we wish her well for her freedom.
For sure.
She posted a bunch of pictures this past week also of herself in this very poofy pink dress saying, this is not the wedding dress, but it's being designed. And she looked very like disheveled and kind of disoriented, I have to say, in this, like, she's like taking the layers of tulle and like fluffy, puffy dress stuff and putting them over her head and looking kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on, but hopefully we'll show us some good news. It'll put her on a good path today.
For sure. Yes.
There is that. Today is also November 12th. Which is not just any ordinary day. It is Disney Plus Day.
Yes, or as our friend Katie Walsh calls it, a holiday dedicated to celebrating content.
So every few minutes, something trickles out on Twitter of like a new logo for some new series, like Spider-Man freshman year, or like new images from the live action Obi-Wan, or whatever it is. Like, is there any kind of, I don't know, rhyme or reason to how they're putting this stuff out?
Not that I know of. I do know that earlier this week, there was talk about Disney stocks being not great because subscription numbers on Disney Plus have plateaued, and is, Marvel and Star Wars enough to fight Netflix? And so I think this is very much an exercise in like, no, really, you need to be subscribed because look at all of our, this is the James Franco look at my shit moment from Spring Breakers of all the stuff they've got coming up. You Agatha, House of Harkness, y'all, come on.
So, or someone pointed out, how could they possibly not have just called it Agatha all along?
Right? I know they've already written a theme song for it. I don't know.
It's just sitting there.
I think they're trying to give it a little bit of an epic underfooting, perhaps. But so what has anything grabbed you as like, ooh, this is the thing I would want to see?
I mean, I know that my kid's going to be excited for this Spider-Man freshman year show.
Mm-hmm.
I think Obi-Wan looks good, but I also don't know why that we need to like redo the epic lightsaber duel from episode 3 between him and, on the verge of the dark side, Anakin, where he's like, Anakin, I loved you. You were my brother. So like, I don't know. We need to rewatch that, but I mean, I always liked Ewan McGregor, and that is cool. They're, beside the new stuff that they're announcing today, they are posting stuff that has been only available like for a premium fee. So if you missed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, that is out.
Gonna watch it this weekend finally. Woo.
Yeah, let me know what you think. And then a whole bunch of shorts. Jungle Cruise is out there, right? And then like a whole bunch of shorts are out there. So like I spent 8 minutes of my morning laughing and crying and watching Feast again.
Oh, nice.
It's so cute. The sweet little Boston Terrier. So there is that, but there's also, the stuff that I do not care about. Like, I don't need a Hocus Pocus 2.
No, thank you.
What about you? What do you think?
The thing that grabbed me was that Stella Meggy, who did the Photograph and Gina the Joneses, is doing a musical animated series based on the Tiana character from Princess and the Frog. Mm-hmm. I've actually never seen Princess and the Frog, but
I don't think I have either. Yeah,
I'm very excited about Stella Meggy getting to be a showrunner on a musical series. So I may have to go back and see the movie now so that I know what the show is about.
Yeah,
that was the one that made me go, oh, okay. And yes, the Agatha show, obviously, if that means, getting more Catherine Hahn in our lives, I'm for that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, okay, it's not super my jam, but this is basically the new upfronts. This is
I guess so.
the thing that traditional networks used to do to sort of pitch it to advertisers. Now there are no advertisers in for this channel. So it's like going right to the public and sort of D23ing us with this flood of like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Isn't it great? You should get this. You got to subscribe. You got to get it. So, we'll see what happens.
It's kind of overwhelming. One thing that confused me greatly is this Robert Zemeckis live action Pinocchio starring Tom Hanks, Cynthia Erivo, Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Like, do we need another Pinocchio? There was that horrific Roberto Benigni live action Pinocchio. Did it ever come out even?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Miramax and put it out for a hot second, and it totally flopped. There are actually 2 live action Roberto Benigni Pinocchios because Benigni Pinocchios. Not Panini. He made one. He made one where he played Pinocchio, and then a few years ago he was in another one that he didn't direct where he's Geppetto. Like he can't stop making Pinocchio movies.
I just don't need any more Pinocchio in my life.
I'm assuming this is like the Disney Pinocchio, which means we're gonna get When You Wish Upon a Star and that stuff. But yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about the live action Snow White, even with Gal Gadot as the evil queen. It's like enough with the live action remakes. I think that they, if nothing else, hopefully they're going to run out soon of properties to do that too. But I think that's for the most part, this entire subgenre has been an exercise in diminishing returns.
There's also a sequel to Enchanted. 15 years later.
Okay.
Starring Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey.
Why not?
I'm not sure I need that. Enchanted, and I want to say maybe it's called Disenchanted.
Disenchanted. Did you see what they did there?
But doesn't that already exist? Or is that called Disenchantment? The show that is the Matt Groening medieval show.
Oh, right.
It's animated. Nick watches it.
I forget what that one's called. Look,
Disenchantment, maybe. Yeah.
We're going into an award season where there are 2 films called Swan Song.
What's the other one? There's the Udo Kier gay hairdresser one.
Yes, and there's the Mahershala Ali, Glenn Close awards bait Apple TV Plus one about a dying guy who gets cloned or something. I'm trying not to dig too deeply into the actual plot synopsis, but yeah, 2 movies, 2021, called Swan Song. Both of them, I'm sure, have like awards goals. Right. So yeah, it's all on the table.
So we are, as you mentioned, we are sort of teetering on the brink of award season here. We have a review of Belfast in a little bit. Katie Walsh and I talked about Belfast. You and I will talk about Passing later on. But you and I this week also saw Licorice Pizza.
Yes. And we're technically under embargo, although I think social embargo.
It's such bullshit. People came running out of screenings in like the first day of November going like, run, don't walk. Our friend Ben Mankiewicz did a Q&A with PTA and Alana Haim and like, everyone's raving about it, so I don't see any reason that you and I need to hold our tongues.
Okay, yeah, I don't like to be the person who goes on Twitter. Like I like to have my review run, which is running on Monday. That's when the print embargo lifts, so that's when my full review is. But yeah, for now, I will just say,
loved it. I will say it's my favorite movie of the year. But I also haven't seen. There's a couple things I haven't seen yet, though.
Yeah, I'd say I haven't seen them all yet. It's up there for me for sure. Like that and Parallel Mothers and a couple other ones are right at the top. But yeah, it was, I didn't want it to end.
Oh my God, that's so funny you say that. That was exactly what I was gonna say. It's like I sat there pinned in my seat during the credits, like, please continue, keep going. Like I want more of this. Anyway, so I'm excited to talk about that with you. We'll do that Thanksgiving week because it comes out on the 24th, I want to say.
Yes, in New York and Los Angeles. And tickets are on sale now in LA anyway for the exclusive 70 millimeter engagement, which is the Westwood Village where we saw it. So
when The Master came out, he made us all go to the Arrow in Santa Monica to watch it in 70 there, which is fine. So why did we all go to Westwood this week?
Well,
or next week, like all the theaters in all the world that have 70.
Sure. Because that's where it's going to open. So I figured that's like, they can already have the banners up and everything. Yeah. And, it is not that the Arrow isn't, but it's a historical LA theater and this is a historical LA movie. Yeah. So, it made sense.
Okay. It's a full experience. Anyway, so I'm excited to talk about Licorice Pizza with you. We have other news. We have not so happy news. This happened last Friday night after we finished recording this concert in Houston, this Travis Scott concert, the Astroworld Music Festival. Today, we learned that a 9th person has died, and hundreds more were injured in this trampling, this crowd chaos, the stampede that occurred. Depending on who you ask at what time, like, did Travis Scott have any idea that this was going on? Did he not? There's video from behind the stage of him seemingly hearing something being told to him, but then he put out a video afterwards saying that he had no idea what was going on during it. It was a giant thing at night.
Yeah.
Anyway, the more we learn about it, the more awful it sounds.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Rolling Stone did a piece about how apparently they were just sort of like looking for warm bodies to be security at this thing, whether or not they'd actually been trained or knew what they were doing. Like, if you've seen the Woodstock 99 documentary, if you've seen the Fire Festival documentaries, I'm getting a lot of that vibe of like, who's in charge of this and who's making decisions and what corners got cut and who suffers because of it. And what's especially tragic about this happening right now is I think that for a lot of people, I bet you for a lot of that audience, this was sort of their first time back at a live music venue in a very long time, And so, and as live music venues in general are trying to get back on their feet and trying to reopen and trying to keep their doors open, this is the kind of thing that makes people terrified to go to a concert if they think that there's a possibility that they're going to get caught in this awful sort of stampede or whatever. So, I mean, yes, it's a huge tragedy for the people who we lost that day, but just in a larger sense, this is just terrible. And so much like the Rust story, I'm sure as this goes along we're going to learn more stuff that is just dreadful.
Among the dead are a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. Details from the 56-page emergency plan, the security plan, emerged afterward. One of the awful details is in case there is anything awful that happens, in case there are casualties of any sort for whatever reason, shooting, whatever, you're not supposed to refer to the dead or deceased over walkie-talkies, over secure microphones. You call them Smurfs. The code word for dead is Smurfs. Just bizarre. It's just bizarre. So several lawsuits have been filed on behalf of the families of the victims against Travis Scott, against Live Nation. Travis Scott has said that he will pay for all the funeral costs for all the victims. He will pay for therapy. But yeah, just conflicting reports as far as who knew what, when, and what could have been done. What caused this?
Right.
We don't even know what caused it.
Right. And what things should have been in place to prevent exactly this kind of thing from happening, because, these kinds of venues with the big space in front of the stage, and if people aren't seated, that's always a threat. That's always a possibility. And I'm sure there are, protocols to prevent them from happening. And so, we need to sort of find out what didn't happen that was supposed to, what got sort of, brushed off when it should have been treated seriously.
Yes. We have more celebrity COVID news for you. And the continuing story of Aaron Rodgers. And what we knew and when we knew it about Aaron Rodgers' vaccination status, because he, tested positive for COVID and was very coy about whether he'd been vaccinated or not, and had asked the NFL for alternative medicine, whatever. Now says that he recognizes that he's a role model. After X number of years of being the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, he's just now coming to realize he's a role model and his words carry weight. And he apologizes and takes responsibility for misleading people about his vaccination status. Meanwhile, his fiancee, Shailene Woodley, remains defiant. Really? And she wrote on Instagram, and I quote, "Literally, y'all need to calm the fuck down."
Lefty anti-vax people are just as annoying as righty anti-vax people.
So that is in reference to, I guess there was some photo taken of some guy that, and again, this is this is their bad on behalf of whatever newspaper this was or whatever website this was. They posted a photo of a guy that they said was Aaron Rodgers, who it may not have been Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, oops.
Saying that he had been breaking quarantine. And she pointed out that she knows that's not her boyfriend because her boyfriend has much bigger feet, if you know what I mean. So.
Okay, great. I mean, yes, fine, Shailene. If they're dragging your man's name through the mud and he didn't do anything, then that's one thing. But
yeah.
Oy.
Anyway, so there's that. There's also the ongoing Big Bird vaccination controversy.
God.
Yes. Let's talk about this.
There is no like rake that Ted Cruz won't step on, you know? He has a gift for it.
So Big Bird got vaccinated.
Yes.
Well, first of all, there was an old clip from like 1972 showing Big Bird like sauntering over to Mr. Hooper's store and seeing what the line was there. Why were they all in line? And it's kids getting vaccinated.
Right.
And then Big Bird put out a tweet today or recently this week rather.
This week, yeah.
Saying that he got vaccinated and his wing's a little sore, but he's going to be okay. And so, of course, Ted Cruz has to seize upon that and say that it's like propaganda.
Yeah.
And although I have to say the video, the meme that he posted did kind of crack me up. Did you see that?
What was this? Some guy in like a weird, like off-brand Big Bird costume crashing through a door or something?
Storming through a door. And the tweet was like, Big Bird coming to get your kids. I mean, it made me laugh because it's so absurd.
Yes.
So anyway, the ongoing beef between Big Bird and Ted Cruz.
Well, and if you watch Street Gang, the really great documentary that came out this year about Sesame Street, you know that the right has always had a problem with that show because, from the get-go, like there were stations in Alabama that didn't want to air it because it had like, white kids hanging out with Gordon and Susan, So yeah, I'm sure it represents everything they don't like because it was actually a successful, government-funded program that helped teach inner city kids how to read.
Yeah. Sesame Street. Just lefties.
Of course.
So there's that. Letitia Wright continues to not be vaccinated. And this might actually be a problem in terms of the production on the Black Panther sequel because she is British and lives in England. And the rules now here in the United States are that if you're coming into the country, you've got to prove vaccination status, and they're shooting Wakanda Forever in Atlanta. And so she may not be able to fly to the US to shoot this movie.
Recast. She can go make a movie with Ice Cube and they can be non-vaccinated together. They can just recast her.
And they can call it Oh Hell No.
Yeah, exactly. That title is floating around, I hear.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like, okay, I get you don't want to recast T'Challa because, we're dealing with the death of Chadwick Boseman and everything. But if she's going to be this much of a pain in the ass about it, there are, I don't know how many talented actresses her age who are champing at the bit to take this role and to not infect the rest of the set. So yeah, I don't need this.
It's too bad. Also, noted epidemiologist Matthew McConaughey says that he is against vaccinating children. He's against the vax mandates for kids. And he, quote, wants to know more.
Oh, good.
I'm doing my own research.
Oh, great. Good for you. This is why we need to elect more actors to public office because they've really got the goods on this.
Do you think this is a signifier that he is indeed going to run for governor of Texas when he's like taking these idiotic stances about vax mandates?
He keeps threatening to. And it's like, Texas has the worst governor on earth. So like
worse than DeSantis?
They're
tough.
They're neck and neck. Greg Abbott is pretty terrible. So, almost anybody would be an improvement, but like, oh man, my favorite tweet response to that was Frank Conniff, who just said, "All wrong, all wrong, all wrong."
That's good. But some positive no pun intended, celebrity news. So Stone Temple Pilots have canceled the rest of their tour because somebody within their team has tested positive. And they're not saying whether it's a band member or someone behind the scenes. They had a couple more dates to go. I know this because the bass player for Stone Temple Pilots is my neighbor. Robert DeLeo, very nice guy. And he posted on Instagram that they hate to do this. They've been touring all over the Midwest and the East Coast, but they're canceling their last couple of dates. And that is very cautious and considerate.
Very much so.
So not everyone is dumb.
No. Not everyone was cautious and considerate. Yes, but also that other thing too. Yes.
Yes. Paul Rudd is people's sexiest man alive. What say you?
I got no argument with that. Although, somebody pointed out, like, funny how it's always an English speaking movie star. Like, it's never a guy selling, like mobile phones in Macedonia. So yeah, and he has a film to promote, obviously. So what perfect timing. But yeah, I mean, who can quibble with the ageless Paul Rudd?
It's a very safe choice.
It is and it isn't, just because I think I think comedy guys don't usually get sold as like, oh, you hunk of man, in the way that like previous honorees like Idris Elba or, I don't fill in the blank have, usually and I guess technically he's sort of an action guy now that he's Ant-Man, but he's a comedy guy, and comedy guys don't generally get to run in these sexiest man circles. So George
Clooney does comedy, but I don't know that I would call him primarily a comedy guy. He's like an everything guy.
Pretty much. Yeah. He is a capital M, capital S movie star,
like Brad Pitt.
Exactly.
Brad Pitt can do comedy beautifully.
Sure.
Is he a comedy guy?
On the side when he's not just being handsome,
Yes. I find Paul Rudd to be of course, it's always calculated to be timed to some sort of movie that's coming out. It's never like, where the hell has he been? It's like, oh, you like some Paul Rudd? Soon. Here he is. It's safe in these mixed up times because he's somebody that everybody can agree on. Like, he's super harmless and he's adorable and just universally liked. Like, there are so few actors or actresses out there or stars out there that like nobody dislikes.
Yeah, Dolly Parton,
How do you dislike Paul Rudd?
Yeah, pretty much, and I'm sure people would say, well, because he keeps quiet about his politics. But he's very successfully managed to like be just enough below the radar to not annoy anyone. So everybody loves him.
Yes. Tom Holland, speaking of our Marvel friends who are harmless, Tom Holland says the new Spider-Man coming out next month is going to be dark and sad.
Yeah, put that on the poster.
I'm not sure I want that from my friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The whole point is that they're fun. These are fun movies. This is not like, I'm Spider-Man.
I'm not committed. I try to, as I don't watch trailers. I don't get into I try not to get into the pre-release hype because I like knowing nothing about a movie whenever I can. I do know that a lot of people seemed very invested in the idea that this movie was somehow going to be like the live action, Into the Spider-Verse movie, where they were going to like bring in all these, all the other actors who played Spider-Man, and if they're going to sort of tie it into the whole Doctor Strange multiverse thing. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens when we get there. But I don't know. Just show me the movie. I don't need to know this.
Well, then you don't want to know about the poster and all the teasy things that the poster does in suggesting which of the Sinister Six might show up in the new Spider-Man movie. This is a conversation that we have all the time in this house. Is it going to be Doc Ock? Nick's like, okay, Doc Ock and Electro and Sandman, Mysterio. I'm like, Mysterio's dead. No, Mysterio's not dead. So we talk about this.
The last time they tried to throw the Sinister Six at us, we wound up with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and nobody wants that again.
That was not a good movie.
Although I will, if they bring back Paul Giamatti as the Rhino, I won't be mad at that because I want him to get big paychecks.
Yes. Well, there are suggestions in the poster.
Okay.
That we can rely on.
Signs
Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman. There are things, details.
Did Michael Keaton die? I don't remember.
No.
Okay, so
Michael Keaton's going to be in this.
Okay, so the Vulture then. All right.
Right, Vulture, very good. Yes. Anyway, there's that. The next Star Wars movie production has been delayed on the new Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron because she's just too darn busy. And she has many scheduling conflicts. I'm sorry, I have to push back my Star Wars movie. I'm making my Wonder Woman movie.
Exactly, I know. I mean, we should all have such problems. I mean, is it just me, or are you getting the impression that they're really putting all the eggs in the Disney Plus basket right now, and they're a lot more excited about episodic than they are about the movies?
I don't know.
Or is that just a passing fancy? I don't know.
No. It's interesting. And also, I think the repercussions of the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit against Disney with the way they released Black Widow definitely dictated how they put things out this year. But you can tell that they're looking to next year to maximize commodifying all that Disney Plus content.
Right. I think part of the reason that the whole Warner Brothers, we're dumping it all on HBO Max thing even happened was because now they're AT&T, and it just became this thing of we want to build up the subscription based streaming is the future. And when you think about it, how much the studio gets to keep of streaming subscriptions versus how much the studio gets to keep of tickets sold at a movie theater, I'm just starting to wonder if, on top of all the other slings and arrows that the theatrical experience has had to suffer of late, if these conglomerates are you know what, we have to shell out all this money and we get this percentage of the ticket, and so we have to sell this much around the world, and it's so much easier. We just press a button, it's bam, it's on streaming, and that's a reliable income month in, month out that people are committed to. So none of this is original. I'm sure other people who observe the industry are talking about this, but it's I wonder sometimes if more and more we're going to really see them throwing their weight behind, no, it's this thing that you have to subscribe to see, and not just buy one ticket to, and then we'll get a share of it and not any of the popcorn money.
Well, AMC sells popcorn now, as we discussed last week.
This is true. Yeah. But Disney doesn't. That's the difference.
Yeah. So there is that. So there's a change.
I mean, they do at the park, I guess,
It's very expensive.
It is.
There's a change.org petition to keep James Corden away from the Wicked movie. I got to look and see. Last time I looked a couple days ago, it had 75,000 signatures. What do you think about this?
I'm not against it. James Corden can sit one of these out. Really, just do us all a favor and maybe not be in one of these adaptations, because look, we can't blame Cats on him. There's a lot to go around there, but did we need him in the prom? No, not really. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, it's a bit of a diss, obviously, but at the same time, no publicity, all publicity is good publicity, so the fact that he matters enough that people are making this much of an effort to be please don't be in this movie, that's got to feed his ego at least a little bit, even in a weird way, right?
That he matters so much that 87,000 people as of this recording have signed this petition, and the phrasing of it is, James Corden in no way, shape, or form should be in or near the production of Wicked the movie, which, as we know, is going to star Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande.
Yes. Have you ever seen it?
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever seen it on stage?
I have. Back when I lived in New York, I saw Wicked, and it was really cool. I saw Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, nice.
Really cool. Yes. Have you not?
I've never been. I'm a bad gay.
Well, now's your time. And John M. Chu directed, so it will be splashy. A few other things. So there was this big interview with David Chase talking about the end of The Sopranos. He talked to The Hollywood Reporter, this big podcast episode, and it got massively teased and tweeted everywhere as David Chase finally tells you what happens at the end of The Sopranos. But when you read the article, he doesn't do anything of the sort. It's just total clickbait. And then he went on record as saying, no, I did not clear it up. Quite the opposite. I got to find his phrasing. It was really, really funny. He said, I'm sorry, I can't find it now. Of course, now that I need it, I can't find it. But he's just basically said like,
no, I didn't.
Quit fucking asking me. Like, no, it did not do that. So it's so interesting the idea that we have to have an answer. Like, why can't things be ambiguous and like revel in the excitement of that?
Jason Bailey shared a really funny anecdote about in the context of this, talking about Paul Schrader doing a Q&A about First Reformed, and sort of like asking the audience, like, who thinks that, that Ethan Hawke dies and who thinks he doesn't, and then the moderator says, well, what happens? And Schrader's answer was, I don't know, the movie ended.
Yeah.
The movie's over. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the show ended. Like, so it just let it be.
So, Matt Seitz, our good friend Matt Seitz, tweeted, spoke to David Chase about at THR, claiming that in a recent interview, he, quote, settled the end of The Sopranos. He did not. He asked me to release this quote. Everybody who believes I said Tony is dead in a Hollywood Reporter article works for me. Now you'll stop fucking asking me. So think what you want.
Live in the ambiguity.
And people just can't. I don't get that. What else? Vin Diesel imploring Dwayne Johnson to come back for Fast 10. I thought they had some beef. Don't they hate each other?
They do.
Didn't they talk shit about each other?
That's
like
my understanding. And look, if this is like Vin Diesel's idea of groveling, you don't start your statement with little brother.
Well, and he's not even his brother.
No.
In the Fast universe.
No. And like, it's like the person who has to stand on the box to be next to the other guy should not say little brother. Just gonna put that out there.
He says, you better show up. This is an Instagram post. You need to show up.
Ugh.
So, but didn't Dwayne Johnson say that like Vin Diesel was unprofessional or had no work ethic or something like that?
I can't remember. Those two are just, it's like boarding school drama.
There's a Stranger Things season 4 trailer that came out. Very exciting. In this house, we know a little bit more about what's going to happen on the next season of Stranger Things, which comes out next summer. It takes place in the summer of 1986 in California.
Well, all right.
I know that.
How do they get here from Indiana?
They drove.
Well, I didn't mean it that literally. I just meant.
Remember, a bunch of them get in the car at the end of season 3, but then Hopper's still in Russia.
Oh yeah,
Hopper didn't die.
I'm gonna need a previously on because I really have not thought about that in a while. But
yes, there's all that. Taylor Swift has re-recorded and is re-releasing her Red album. She's going back to all her old albums and redoing them and like putting additional tracks on them. There's 30 different songs on this new re-release. It is called Red, in parentheses, Taylor's version, including a 10-minute version of All Too Well, which makes it even clearer that the song was about Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, do you even recall that she dated Jake Gyllenhaal?
Vaguely, like there's a lot to keep up with there. There was a Kennedy, right? And there was Tom Hiddleston. There was there've been a few in there, but
I'd forgotten. I forgot she dated Zac Efron.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Yes.
I forgot she dated Harry Styles.
Yeah, that one I didn't even know. Okay.
I forgot she dated Calvin Harris.
She did a spreadsheet of all this?
No, I actually did a little bit of research before we came on and recorded this. I'm like, how many Taylor Swift boyfriends can I name? And like, not that many apparently, but they all get a song.
A Jonas, right?
Yes, Joe.
Joe, okay.
When they were very, very young.
Yes.
But All Too Well has very specific details of the Thanksgiving she spent at Maggie Gyllenhaal's house, where she left her sweater. I'm sorry, her scarf. Mm-hmm. And then Jake Gyllenhaal has been spotted out in the world still wearing that scarf years later. Anyway, it's 10 minutes long. Also, if you go to Starbucks, you can drive through or walk up to the counter and ask for Taylor's drink, and they'll know what you're asking for. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
It's a grande non-fat caramel latte.
Oh, that's a fine choice, Taylor.
It sounds delicious and cozy.
Yes.
So there you go. Brian Williams is leaving NBC News after 28 years. Mm-hmm. I watched a lot of the 11th Hour during the previous administration, but I have to admit I have not watched that show very much at all since then.
We all need a break.
Yes. Guillermo del Toro and Kim Morgan apparently are married.
Were they not before?
No. They co-wrote Nightmare Alley.
Yes.
Which is coming out next month, right? And she was with him at the Oscars when he won for Shape of Water.
Right. I thought they were married, but okay. Mazel tov.
They got married in May, apparently. He introduced her as his wife at some LACMA event.
Okay.
Anyway, also very sad news to end with. Dean Stockwell.
Yes.
Legend Dean Stockwell has died at age 85. Talk a little about Dean Stockwell.
He was a lifer. Like that guy, he started as a kid actor in films like The Boy with Green Hair, Gentleman's Agreement, and just kind of worked his way through the decades. And I think now probably for people our age, probably best known for Blue Velvet and the TV show Quantum Leap, but, was in Paris, Texas, was in somebody did a list of all these amazing directors that he had worked with over the years, like everybody from, from Joseph Losey to, Jonathan Demme, Married to the Mob. Yeah, he was just a really great character actor and a kind of eccentric Hollywood presence. Co-directed a film called Human Highway that Devo is in.
With Neil Young.
With Neil Young, yeah.
Didn't he direct it with Neil Young?
Oh, you're right. Yes, he's the other director. So yeah, just a fascinating presence and had a very good run and managed to always reinvent himself, which is, I think, essential for anybody who wants to enjoy a lengthy film career.
He made his film debut at age 7 in Anchors Away.
No kidding. Oh, wow.
Yes. Opposite Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And he's so freaking cute when you go back and look at clips of it. He's got it. He's a total natural from the get-go. He doesn't have that cutesy, precocious kid thing. Sheila O'Malley over at our website, rogerebert.com, wrote a really beautiful remembrance of him, really thorough, and a great look back at how versatile he was. But yeah, there were years where he was doing dinner theater.
Wow.
There were years where he had nothing. And also we talked about the original Dune recently, the David Lynch Dune before Blue Velvet. He was in Dune, and he approached David Lynch and said, I'd be interested in being in this film. And that's how he got that role.
Interesting. I did read a thing where he said that he got the fluttering eye thing from Ben in Blue Velvet from Carol Burnett.
Yes, I read that somewhere too. And there's a clip out there of his only appearance on David Letterman, which is also very entertaining. And he just seemed charismatic and classy and as you say, ever reinventing himself. You never knew what you were going to get from him, but you knew it would be interesting. You knew it would be different and it would stand out in your mind.
Probably the kind of guy who's got great dinner stories. You linger on the table after the desserts have been cleared away and you just want to hear the stories.
Anyway, he was so beautiful. And so he is gone at age 85. And that is the reason for our opening song this week on the show. So farewell, Dean Stockwell, RIP.
Indeed. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And hey, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. You get to see videos like this with no commercial interruption. You get exclusives on our TV recaps. We are winding down a really rollicking season of The Morning Show, and season 2 of The Great is coming up, as is Hawkeye. So plenty of stuff there to talk about, along with a lot of other great goodies that are exclusive for our Patreon members. So patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Thank you. Thanks again for watching. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next time. Bye.